Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Spotlight series presented by the Black Podcasters Association, where twice a week we shine a spotlight on a Black podcaster, creative, or support professional from our online community. My name is Corey Gumbs, and I'm the founder as well as your host. In this evening's episode, we would like to welcome self-proclaimed foodie, liquor and conversation connoisseur Victor Jones. Podcasting out of Florida, Victor is the host of Liquor Talk, a podcast where average everyday individuals offer listeners entertainment while having a round or two, or as Victor states, the more you drink, the better he sounds. But before we start, if you're watching this on YouTube or one of our other social media platforms, please make sure you like, subscribe, or follow, and tap any notification bells to get alerts of our upcoming episodes. And if you're interested in learning more about who we are, our organization, or becoming a member of the Black Podcasters Association, you can go to our website at blackpodcastersassociation.com. So enough about us. Introducing to you guys Victor Jones. Welcome to the show and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I like the setup; looks beautiful. I appreciate you having me on, man.
No problem. Glad to have you. So basically, I don't know if you're aware of it, but we kind of have like lighthearted conversations, but this is really about you, what you're doing and what you're accomplishing in the podcast space. What I didn't get a chance to point out in the introduction is that you just celebrated your 200th episode, right? Or I think you
Yes,
passed that now, but it was during the new year, right?
it was the last episode of 2021, which
Okay.
we hit the the 200 plateau.
Okay. Well, congratulations on that. That's a lot, considering that most podcasters don't get past the fifth or the fifth to seventh range. That's a big accomplishment. But I guess we'll start with the first thing is who you are, how you got into podcasting, what your podcast is about. What's your story?
Okay. Like I said, I'm Victor, host of Liquor Talk podcast. How I got started in podcasting is I just was watching podcasts on YouTube videos, and then I saw some friends doing a podcast, and I was like, I could do this. And everybody for years have been telling me, "Oh, you have such a strong voice, and you're so passionate about what you talk about and stuff." So, which I don't know is I was doing Snapchat videos which is me just giving my opinion on things. And then I looked into podcasts. I'm like, okay, this is not that hard. So at first I had a co-host, and then like I said, that had two co-hosts, neither one worked out. Nothing bad happened, just life happened. But then I just got on a roll of having different people on, and 200 episodes later, this is where we at. So, and basically, what Liquor Talk is just having real conversations. Sometimes we have drinks after work or a long day, so we just have real conversations about life, the culture, what's going on with Black people, like dating and relationships, and also I also give the spotlight for people to shine on, like whoever comes on the platform to you know, talk about their platform or whatever they're doing as well.
All right, that's dope. So what kind of conversations do you have? Like if I come on your show, what kind of conversations can I expect to hear?
Basically, if you would come on the show, you would thank you, Miss Hawkins. If you or anyone comes on the show, basically, I'm gonna look up your podcast or look at your platform and see. Yes, it does. I see what you're talking about, and also whatever is going on during the week, like whatever trending topic is going on during the week, like that you can expect to hear me talk about it and give our point of view from a man's point of view, and also whatever's going on, just expect to talk about it.
Okay. So I would consider you like I think Jen, she says, "Hey Vic, hey Corey." I know I would consider you like a vet. So like what were some of the challenges you had when you first started as compared to now where you're at right now?
The challenges was getting out of honestly, the real challenge was getting out of my show and reaching out to people who are in the podcast industry and who were podcasting like me and seeing who want to come on the podcast and finding guests and stuff because it's like when my second co-host left, which I understand because I knew this was a limited thing because they suffer some things out of my control So the challenge was to recruit people on and stuff and get out there and network. And then once I got out and networked and realized other podcasters would show up, that's what made it a whole lot easier. So I would say just getting out there and also motivating yourself to keep doing it, because it's hard having one person just walk out on you and then just telling you how they really feel. And I'm like, wow. It's just, you know how some people just let things just build up and build up. It's like getting told in a long paragraph about yourself. It's just like, wow. It's humbling. I'm like, we've been doing shows for nearly a year and you tell me all this. And I'm like, wow, you should just, I wish you would just say something instead of holding it all in. But
Right.
getting over that and then finding trying to recruit guests, those were the two challenges as well. It's like, and also sometimes fighting depression with everyday life, because sometimes everyday life is just be kicking you behind, and it's like not really working out for you. So sometimes, and honestly, podcasting is what got me through it, which is why you'll see over 200 episodes, because it's the one thing I look forward to, just pouring up, having a drink, and having a conversation with someone new in a different city, or just having a conversation with my fellas who are the regulars.
All right. So before I ask my next question, what's the drink of choice when you podcasting?
It varies. Some months I'm on some dark liquor. Some months I'm on some white liquor. It just varies. It's like it's
Whatever the
whatever
mood is.
bottle I pick up from the store that day. So
Yeah.
it'll usually last me a couple of weeks. So
Okay. I want to ask you about the adjustment period when you said, you mentioned your co-host. You had several co-hosts and they left. How was the adjustment period for you, but also for your audience? How did that reflect with your audience?
the audience, this is why I learned the audience really just rocked with me, you know what I'm saying? And one thing I learned is if you put out quality content, the people gonna rock with you no matter who you have on the show. So, and it's like I had some feedback, they were like, I love it how you're spotlighting other podcasts and stuff. And I said, well, I see this is working for me. So I said, let me just stay with it instead of trying to recruit somebody new, because it's like I had a whole bunch of people sign up wanting to come on. Like it was around episode 90, like 94, 95. I just put on there, hey, look for co-host, look for guests. Had a whole bunch of people sign up. So it's like, let me just keep rocking with it, because I kind of like it, because it's like I'm getting an opportunity to talk to somebody new. And technology is such a beautiful thing. And honestly, if I would have knew about all this podcast technology, I probably would never had a co-host. But you gotta have the people, because they teach you about yourself, and never know. It's like they want to make you who you are today.
All right. I was listening actually to a couple of episodes last night before while I was doing some work. It was interesting. I did notice you had a couple podcasters on there. How has that ever been as far as building the network? Like, what is that experience? Because I know we have a lot of new podcasters in our association, and they're trying to learn the ropes and figure out what's the best way broaden their broaden their audience. How has that been for you in regards to just having, I guess they're guests, but they're kind of like co-hosts in a way too, right? Because they're
Yeah,
podcasters as well.
yeah. It's just I guess having other podcasters help broaden my scope as well, because 9 times out of 10, those people that come on, they're gonna share with their listeners as well. And now I'm recruiting their listeners. I'm letting them hear what we about as well, because you get the same thing every week, just a different guest on, and I'm letting them have the spotlight as well. So like I would say that definitely just helped me broaden the audience as well.
All right, so your show is a weekly show,
Yeah, it's a weekly show.
and I are you batch recording? How do you like? What is your recording process for that?
Um, I tried the batch recording and I realized that that batch recording is for me, because sometimes you will record a whole bunch of episodes and then just put them out. But then you'll have a lot of issues coming up that you want to speak on. You'll notice things going on in the political world, notice things going on with the celebrities and social media. You notice a lot of trends going on and you just want to speak on them. And also, that passion for podcasting will kick in as well. It's like you get the itch of like, okay, I haven't recorded in some weeks, so it's like, so I just got to the habit of just scheduling out my guests, like giving them a date, and we're gonna schedule it out from there.
Okay. Yeah, I know for a lot of people doing the weekly thing can be overwhelming. And I like that you mentioned that because it's good to see get different perspectives on that and how people handle it. How how what is like what are some of the biggest episodes you've had? Like what do your guests like about your show? Like what are they looking for?
Um, I know my guests. The main thing they like is my energy. They like the energy I bring to the conversation. They do like how I pull up the conversation topics as well. So, and I will say when we get crazy, the freaky episodes, them be the ones that everybody be attracted to. It's like, and it's always the ones you don't expect nobody to really attract to. Them the ones they be playing a lot of. I'm like, okay.
Okay. So you mentioned that you know there's that events go on and stuff like that. So do you I'm gonna assume you really don't plan out your episodes too much because you're touching on subjects that are going on or trends that are going on at a certain particular time?
I actually do plan the episodes like probably the week of like I said, if I know I'm having somebody on, I'll listen to their podcast and then I'll be looking at what's going on in social media and also what's going on in the news. And that's how I'll plan out the conversation as well. And also I will take people requests as well. Like for example, on the latest episode that I'll spoil one of the episodes that I'm gonna drop on Wednesday. My sister sent in a question about like exes and being on social media, and that led to a great conversation I had with Jay Book from the Jay's Quick Three podcast, which is going to drop on Wednesday. So I'll take suggestions from everywhere. Like so, sometimes I'll have people talking about on social media. Like even if somebody asks a crazy question on social media, I'll go ahead and flip it around. Like I'll go ahead and take it because it sounded so interesting and just give them credit on the show.
All right. What are some of your for this year? What are some of your goals? Where do you see your podcast going this year?
This year I want to do more live show. I want to do some live shows, and also I want to work with some more people as well. And like I said, I want to do more lives on Instagram and more um more lives, and do some live shows. And also, once the money gets right, I want to start traveling and taking the liquor talk on the road and going to meet some of these podcasters where they at and be like, hey, I'm in your city, let's do this in person, you know what I'm saying? So instead of us just doing it in two different places, I want to take the show on the road. And also I moved to a new city so I can work with a friend of mine at his studio, so I want to do some more shows at the studio as well. And that's where I can see me taking liquor talk like more than just a podcast. I want to give it like a live experience. I want to give it an experience as well because I feel like it's something you just got to experience for yourself.
All right, I got you. I mean, I know with the pandemic and stuff, it kind of made the human interaction part a little bit more complicated for people, and sometimes just being in a room with a person and having a conversation with them just brings a whole different energy. So I get that. Well, if you're ever in New York, ring me up. You know, I do mobile podcast recordings, so I have that with my business. But what would you say? I know you said that for you, you get the itch to podcast. You get the it's also helped you get through some hard times. What are like the top three things you really enjoy about podcasting?
Number one is meeting new people. Because if you notice with Liquor Talk, it's every week I have like just new guests on, or also just podcast with my fellas as well. The second thing I like is just getting my voice out there, just having a way to use my communications degree to do something to show I'm using my voice because everybody's like, oh, you have a great strong voice. I've heard that for years. So just getting out there using my voice. And the last thing is just hearing other perspectives and hearing other people like hit me up to be like, hey, I want to come on the podcast. So it's like, and just getting to know people in general.
All right, that's cool. Um, so let's talk about your tour. The idea of a tour, like because it's got to make sense, right? It's got to be intentional. Where would you say like the I guess you're gonna go by where you have your strongest following. Like what cities out there like are your strongest following? I know that's kind of you might not have been prepared for that. If you're not, then that's fine.
Um, I would say my strongest following would definitely it'd have to be in California. Believe it or not, it'll have to be like California. California really rocks me. And then of course, I definitely hit California because I know a lot of podcasts out there. Um and then there's Texas. Texas rocks me as well. So
Yeah.
but to start off, I would definitely start off in Houston because I know there's a lot of podcasters in the Houston, between Houston and Dallas, and I could definitely hit them up, be like, "Hey, I'm in the city," so I'd start somewhere where I know there's people at too, and I would start in places where I know I got friends at first, and then see if anybody's there, and then go from there. Like there's a whole bunch of cities I do want to hit up, so. And also, I may have to hit up Ohio as well because I've been getting a lot of podcasts, meet a lot of podcasters from Ohio as well. So,
Okay. What about Florida? Like your home state.
yeah, actually, the reason I moved to Florida, I left my home in Tampa to come to Orlando is because I remember there's some friends that I met through podcasting, and also I do want to hit South Florida, like the
Okay.
Miami-Dade area, because there's a handful of podcasters down there that they were rocking with me as well, and they were very excited to come on Liquor Talk. So I do want to talk to them as well. So.
All right. We have some members in our group from the Orlando area as well. So maybe later on when we have how people could reach out to you, you guys can connect or whatever. Um, how are you like actively marketing or like how did you get into like do you know how you got into Florida? I mean, excuse me, California, Texas, Ohio. Like, how is your is it just mainly because you've been going on people's podcasts or having them come on yours, or are you actively marketing for your podcast?
I usually actively market through my Instagram page. And also one thing that helped me is the Facebook groups as well. That's what helped me really get my name out there is me just going in them groups and just being like, hey, I need some guests and work it out into different time zones, working with everybody's schedules. That's not as hard as people make it out to be. It's just you just gotta deal with people who just know what time they gotta be there and they know what time it is. Like if
Right.
it's 1 p.m. their time or 4 p.m. your time, you know how to work it out, because I find that people, if they really want to be a part of it, they're gonna find ways to work it out.
Okay. Um. So like I know you was talking about how you got into podcasting. What were your feelings initially? Like, were you apprehensive? Were you nervous? Because I think it's important for people who watch this who may be thinking about getting into podcasting, especially in our community as Black men. How did you first feel about it? Like, was it just like I'm just gonna just do it, or like, or were there any apprehensions or anything like that, or any fears that you had to overcome?
Um, when I first started, when I had the co-host, I'm like, you know what? She here. Let's do this. Let's go and rock it out. And then I had moved and gone from that co-host. I still was just like, you know what? You already started this thing. You just got to get started. Like my advice, to people, would be if you're looking to get started, get started. Don't wait around. Don't just go ahead and get started because once you get started and once you get the hang of it and once you figure out it's for you or not, like you'll know within like probably the first 4 or 5 episodes whether or not you can maintain this. And if it's something you're passionate about, you're gonna maintain it. You just gotta ride that passion.
All right. Um, excuse me. So where do you is this the only show you're really doing right now, Liquor Talk, or do you plan on doing some other show? I know you mentioned doing lives. Is that going to be encompassing with the Liquor Talk, or is that going to be something separate?
It's going to be encompassing with liquor talk as well. So um, right now, I'm open to doing other shows. Like right now, I will talk to some people in the city, see what they need. I'm open to doing other shows as well. But right now, the lives is going in conjunction with liquor talk.
All right. What would be some advice you give to people looking to get started? I mean, like I said, you got 200 over 200 episodes in. You know, that's a big library. It's a lot of work that you've done. What
Yeah.
would be some advice you would give to people who are getting started or at a point where they're thinking about quitting or they're at that cusp where they're trying to figure out if this is really worth it for them?
Um, my advice to them: if podcasting is like a chore or something you really don't want to do, then maybe you should walk away from it. But if you are like you're looking forward to the day you're podcasting and you're just looking forward to it and you're looking forward to hopping on other people's shows and you look forward to networking, then you should stick it out. But if it becomes a chore to you, meaning you really don't want to do it, or if it becomes a job, because podcasting is a job, it's your own job, but if it's like that job you don't want to go to, then don't do it. If you get to that point of you just don't want to do it, don't do it. Just be like, okay, it is what it is. Um, but you'll never, but you will know you started it and tried it. And whether or not it works out, you should say at least you tried it because there's a lot of people who will probably, I won't say die, but they might get to a point of what if I did it? Don't be like those people. Like, just go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and do it. See if you like it. If not, it is what it is.
All right, that's some great advice, and I like the fact that you said if it's not fun anymore, don't do it. You know,
Mhm.
just pivot or try to do something else, because it's not for everybody, and I think, in this space, we need to really be upfront and honest with people about that, because everybody thinks they can just go and do it, and I think that would really lower the pod fading, statistics that we have in regards
Yeah.
to how many active and how many inactive podcasters we have out there.
And let me just say one more thing about a trend I'm noticing. If you're gonna create a podcast to bash black women or black men, get off of the mic. Just get off the mic because that's just disrespectful. And that puts all of us black men podcasters or black women podcasters at a bad light because now people are gonna be thinking, oh, you just going there to bash people and stuff. No. No, we don't be all doing that because I be seeing that trend is like some people feel like, oh, black men just get some podcasts to bash black women and vice versa. Black people, if you're gonna get a podcast just to bash black people, don't do it. Please do not do it. Just go get help or something because not all of us black people are like that in the number. So
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that because inside of our group, we actually started a conversation about a tweet we saw in which the person stated that one of the worst things that happened to the black community was podcasting, and we're actually going to be having a conversation coming up soon or a panel on about that conversation. But I've noticed that trend, and I'm not really a big fan of that trend as well. Um, I think I think for us as podcasters, we have to, especially black podcasters, we have to show the world that we have a plethora or a wide range of things to talk about outside of just those negative stereotypes or generalized opinions or views on our relationships, right? Or sex or stuff like that. So I think what you said is powerful. I think it's very important that we really, really stress that. And I think we as podcasters um need to start being more vocal about it. So I really do appreciate that, especially veterans like yourself who's been in the game for a while, especially pre-pandemic when it wasn't as popular. I think it's very important that we stress those points. If I want to, if now you have 200 episodes, I'm going to keep harping on that because I think that's a really big thing. But what would you say that what would be if I wanted to if I'm stumble onto this video and I'm like, okay, I want to check out his podcast. He's got 200 episodes. It must be really interesting. What would be like the three to five episodes you would tell people to check out to get a real feel of what your show is about? I
I
know it's a lot, so
yeah,
whatever you can think of is fine.
honestly, I would say the last five because it's like the last five is like how you're feeling in the moment because the last five can tell you how I'm feeling in the current moment in the current moment. I would say, like I said, the last five just go for your last five because those are the most recent episodes and 9 times out of 10 you'll show how you're really feeling in those last five. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I wouldn't go dig too much deeper, but if you want to dig, then have at it.
I think the episode I was listening to, you had a podcast host on there it was healing time with coffee and apple juice. And I think you guys, towards the end of the conversation, you guys started talking about something about addressing trauma.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good that you guys like. I mean, it was a regular conversation, but I liked how you guys segued into that. Um, and I thought that was an interesting title for our podcast. How was that conversation for you? 'Cause it seemed like you were really into it.
Yeah, it does because sometimes hearing somebody else tell their story will make you really self-evaluate right there on the spot. And in that episode, I was like, damn, I need to really evaluate some things. And it's just, and I can respect that this lady, she's coming on here telling how she really feeling about some things. And I will say that's another thing about podcasting. It will open up your eyes to some things that you're doing as well. Because I'll tell a story about me. It's like I was on another podcast, and sometimes there's some topics that trigger me. I'm like, wow, I sound really hurt when I'm not meaning, when the intent is not real, when that's not your intent. So it's like you will get on some podcasts, some topics will really make you look yourself in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? And I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that you saying that because there are a lot of black women who don't appreciate, like, don't understand that we got to heal as well. So I appreciate that last comment. So but like I said, getting back to it, like certain topics will open up your eyes to be like, damn, I need to take a look in the mirror at myself.
That's good, and I'm glad you feel comfortable enough to have those conversations and open up, like Jarrell said, open up about your healing and stuff because it's hard for us sometimes. We can be very egotistical, we can be very arrogant at times, and I'm finding a lot of us are using podcasting outside of what you spoke about earlier about the negative stuff, but are having really positive conversations about who we are as men, as a community, and the impact we have as well. So I think that's important that and it's good to see have guys like you who've been in the game for a while showing people like it's not. I mean, it is complicated, but it's not as complicated as sometimes we make it seem to just open up and have a real conversation. And
Yeah, and also I will say this though, if people are looking for those real conversations about men opening up, there is the men's only round where it's just a whole bunch of black men where it's just like sometimes it's me, myself and three or four other black men, and we just sitting down going at it, have some deep man talk. So the fellas, yes, we go in and stuff. So yes, ladies, if y'all want to hear us men having conversations, if y'all interested in that, y'all can definitely check out the men's only rounds.
those are episodes inside of your podcast.
Yeah, like
Okay.
once a month they'll be labeled men's only round, so or guys
Okay.
only round.
Okay, so that's another one we could add to that list of what you should check out on top of the last 5 episodes you did.
Mhm.
Um, is there any other like any other things you want to impart to people watching about who you are? Some of the other things that you may be working on or you're dealing with outside of podcasting.
Right now I'm just like I'm working on podcasts. I'm working on getting just to the new city, you know what I'm saying? But I will say this, if anybody listening to this and has a podcast and has a platform, if y'all want to come on, just let me know and I will get you on because 9 times out of 10, most of the guests I will get them on and stuff. The only time I've turned somebody away is if I see them doing something stupid on their social media lit. It's like I saw a domestic violence situation on somebody's live, and I was like, okay, you know what? I can't have you as a guest, and because that gives me a bad look. You on here beating on women,
Right.
and that's gonna give me a bad look. So that's probably the only time I've ever turned a guest away.
All right, before because I was going to segue into like how people could reach out to you, but let's talk about that real quick. How important is it for you to vet your guests? I mean, you stated like somebody who's domestic violence, which of course we can't support, but how important is it for you as a podcaster to make sure you have the right guests on your show?
It's very important because it'll lead to conversations because sometimes you can hear what a person talking about, and you're like, I'm not sure if I can have a good conversation with this person. So you definitely got to vet your guests. You definitely got to play their podcast and listen to what they have going on. So it's like, and sometimes I've played some podcasts and I surprised myself. Like I'm like, damn, I had a good conversation with. It's always the ones you think, okay, I might not have a good conversation with them, but then you turn out to have a good conversation with them.
All right. We have Reggie. He's one of our members in the group. He's definitely down to hit you up and talk to you about it. And of course, Bethany. So she's asking, do you send us the liquor, or we got to get it, or is it BYOB?
Listen, it's BYOB unless we're doing it in person.
Okay.
BYOB unless we're doing it in person. Because if we're doing it in person, 9 times out of 10, I might stop and pick something up.
Okay. All right. So let's get into how people can reach out to you. How can they contact you? I do have your website, or the your beacons, right? Beacons.com. I mean
Yeah.
beacons.ai/ liquor talk. I know that people can check that out also to to follow you and hear your episodes on different platforms. Is there anything else on there they can find?
They can basically find all the links to the episodes. They can find the links to my Twitter, to the Instagram, and also to the Facebook. However you use social media. Facebook is Victor Jones. We still working on getting the Lick Talk page together for that.
Okay.
But other than that, everything else, Twitter, Instagram, see the Real V Jones or Lick Talk podcast. I'm pretty accessible. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Just wherever there's social media, 9 times 10 I'm on there. So like I said, if I'm not, like I tell everybody in the episodes, I might be in Florida, but I'm just a DM away. So
Um. Okay. Jarrell, I don't know. Oh, we had Jarrell wanted to know about the episodes that you mentioned where you guys talk. Where you have the men. It's called the men's round, right?
yeah, it's the men's only round.
The men's
Um
only
the
round.
last the last that actually the last episode, it was episode 200. That was a men's only round episode. So they're marked on there.
Okay. Yeah, I see it. It was the 2021 wrap up with the men.
Yeah.
Okay. Um. Sorry. Got caught up looking at the titles.
You good.
What is it? So typically when we have these conversations, one of the questions I really like to ask our guests is, what does it mean for you to be a Black podcaster?
It just means I'm a brother out here, not afraid to use his voice, and I take pride in that because I know there's a lot of black men who are just they kind of shy away of it because they think nobody gives a damn about what we think. But in reality, there are some people who really care about what we think. We just gotta ignore the excuse my expression, but we gotta ignore the assholes in the community who want to make it like, oh, we don't care when really there are people out there that care. So and what it means for me to be a black podcaster is just it's something I take pride in because I've been consistent with it. So it's like, and it's something you're passionate about. So that's what it means for me to be a black podcaster. I'm being that person that's not afraid to use his voice and also not afraid to have the tough conversations.
All right, that's dope. I appreciate that. I really respect your honesty. We got Walter Gain in here. What's up, Walter? How you
All right,
doing?
Walter, what up, man? And me and Walter, Walter, I'm about to get in touch with Walter because me and Walter been knowing each other for a while, and we haven't linked up on either one of our platforms. So
Okay, yeah, got to make that happen. I know you roll in circles with a couple of people like Scorpion. Um, I've seen a couple of episodes where you were either on their podcast or they were on your podcast. So you're out there, man.
yeah, that's how it goes. Like I said, that's how it goes. It's like that's my method. Like you come on my podcast, I'll definitely have you on. So like I said, and we'll talk as well because I'll definitely look to have you on talk more about the Black Podcasters Association as well.
All right, we can definitely make that happen. I appreciate that. So, is any final parting words you have for the people that are watching or listening out there? Any advice you would like to give?
Um, I will say this: if you tap in with me, like I said, tap in with me now because hey, the price is gonna go up real soon, so you might want to tap in while it's low. And also, you tap in, you won't regret it. And also, to my advice to anybody, whether you start a podcast, go ahead and just get it started. You know what I'm saying? And ask all the questions later. Just get it started, and all the answers will come to you. And to my people, don't give up your podcast just yet. You know what I'm saying? Just hang in there. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, if you quit today, you'll have to restart. You'll be restarting soon. So you don't want to just toss all your hard work down the drain if you give up. So that's right.
Well, I really appreciate having you here. Definitely keep us updated on like when you just when you decide to do your tour, if you decide to do it. Let us know because we have a network across the country. We're actually international now, but we definitely have people out there. We'll definitely try to help you support you, what you're doing and stuff. So let us know, keep us updated. Um, Again, thank you for joining us. This is Victor Jones of the Liquor Talk podcast. I'm gonna just let people know how to get in touch with you. He's welcoming all podcasters out there that want to sit down and have a conversation with him. So you can go to his beacons as beacons.ai/liquor talk. It goes a New York accent. I heard it this time. You can reach out to him on Twitter, real V Jones. That's not real 4 Jones. It's real V Jones on Twitter, as well as on Instagram, the Liquor Talk Podcast. So make sure you guys check them out. Support the podcast. It's the Liquor Talk Podcast. I know it's on Apple Podcast because that's where I was listening to it. I think it's on Spotify as well.
Mhm.
So you definitely can check them out on those platforms or any other platform where you check out your podcast. Again, Victor, appreciate it. It's good to finally meet you and talk with you. I look to build with you again in the future. And before we close out, I just want to thank everybody for checking out the Spotlight. Make sure you tune into our next show this coming Tuesday, January 18th at 12 p.m. Eastern, where we'll be spotlighting our next Black Podcast Association member, Gary O'Neill. He's the host of the C Plan Do Show or podcast, whatever you want to call it, but it's called the C Plan Do Show. So again, Victor, appreciate it. Have a good night. Everybody watching, have a good night and be safe out there. Stay warm, and we'll see you guys soon.